The coronavirus is changing a lot this year, and that includes the way lawmakers are going to be sworn in. Ceremony is actually going to happen this Wednesday right here on these steps. Yeah, that's right, guys. The Center for International Education made the call last week to cancel its upcoming trip to Italy. And those students tell me they understand the precautions the university is taking. That doesn't make the news any easier. With that new highly contagious South African strain now here in Connecticut, experts say it's time to double down on mask wearing. Now, these N95s, these are still the gold standard, but they should be left for healthcare professionals only. But if you do want to protect yourself farther from the virus, there's a very simple step you can take. Experts say take a cloth mask, put it over your surgical one. So yes, double mask. This is going to block about 92% of viral particles, giving you that extra layer of protection. This is CCSU News reporter Sarah Willson outside just one of Central's residence halls being used to staff Hartford healthcare nurses and doctors who are on the front lines of fighting the coronavirus. It happened just before midnight. That's what police are saying about a car that came around the corner of Pennsylvania Avenue and crashed into Monroe Park behind me. That's right, we are only 3 days away from New Britain's mayoral election, and I sat down with two of Mayor Stewart's competing candidates. Both of them told me their plans for the city and how they're hoping to capture voters' hearts.
Two young lives lost way too soon.
It's a call no parent ever wants to get.
She was one of a kind. And she was loved by so many.
Melissa Riley and John Harris say the phone rang around 5 a.m. Monday morning. On the other line, news of a single car crash on Route 44 in Coventry. Inside the vehicle, their daughter, 16-year-old Olivia Sear. Police say she was rushed to the hospital and later passed away. She leaves behind a younger brother, Everett, who her family says adored her.
Everett loved her so much.
Yep.
We haven't even told Everett yet. He's going to be devastated.
Police say 19-year-old Jacob Provost of Coventry was driving the car when it crossed the center line and crashed into a tree. Provost died at the scene. 18-year-old Samuel Smith was in the back seat and is suffering from what officers call minor injuries. Police say at this point in the investigation, it's just too early to know what caused the crash, but as they look into it, Olivia's parents are sending this message.
Follow the speed limit. Slow down.
Wear seatbelts, please. It saves lives.
And now through Thursday, Coventry Public Schools are offering grief counseling, both in person and virtually, for anyone who needs it. We've heard from parents and we've heard from teachers who are concerned about the shortcomings of classes during the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, now we're hearing what students have to say. Using the Freedom of Information Act, NBC Connecticut Investigates asked over 200 school districts across the state of Connecticut how COVID was impacting learning. Out of those 211 districts across our state, we heard back from 11. We took those surveys and the data that they shared with us, and we bounced it off a number of high school students. Here's what they had to say.
I do kind of feel somewhat stressed out.
6 high schoolers joined us for a video chat to discuss some of the answers that came up in those surveys. The panel includes Shay Dempsey from Ram High School, David Talbot from Bacon Academy, Tamir Murphy from Loomis Chaffee, Josh Smith from Plainville High School, Gabriel Torres from New Britain High School, and Shelimar Cruz from Connecticut River Academy. The surveys indicate issues with remote learning, one of those being on camera during class.
You can see yourself, it kind of just put something in the back of your mind, try to make sure you look okay and you look interested, and it's just a little bit an added stress.
I think about it like if it was just in school anyways, people are going to see my face if I'm talking.
Another issue, difficulty contacting instructors. Students in the survey say remote learning made it harder for them to get clarification on assignments, materials, and more.
It just depends on the teacher for me, but some can take a couple days and it's stressful waiting for a reply.
Students also say they want more live lessons.
I could ask questions if I'm in person and they can help me right then and there.
Another reason so many students prefer in-person learning, Too many distractions at home.
I have my PlayStation right next to me. I can just play games. I can watch Netflix. I'm in my room, so I can really do whatever I want.
A few students in the survey said with online learning, their grades have actually improved or at least remain on par with what they were before the pandemic.
I actually prefer something like videos and worksheets other than live classes because I like going at my own pace.
Online learning does get easier, according to most, but not every student we spoke with.
So it got easier over time.
I've definitely had to find ways to adapt.
I feel like for me it was hard. It is still hard for me.
The question now, if students are falling behind, how will they catch up? A recent survey from McKinsey & Company says get ready for extended school years, tutoring, summer school, even something called Acceleration Academy. That's where students make up 3 months of learning on one subject over 25 hours during a week-long vacation. In Colchester, Sarah Willson, NBC Connecticut Investigates. I'm CCSU News reporter Sarah Willson in New Britain. The light at the end of the coronavirus tunnel may be longer than expected. That goes especially for Connecticut colleges and universities hoping to reopen in the fall.
We have put together 8 different work groups that are considering different aspects of 3 scenarios: completely online, hybrid, and on the ground.
Even though the number of coronavirus cases is declining across the state, President Dr. Toro is warning students that their fall semester could look a lot like this again. That's not exactly the outcome math professor William Sarmick was hoping for.
These students learn better in a communal setting, because they support each other, they ask questions, answer questions, you get a little discussion going. It's very difficult online.
Despite the challenges, he says his students are continuing to put their best foot forward.
I'm really impressed on how people are doing on a lot of these assignments I've given. And I really think that most of them are doing a good job on their own.
And if you're anxious for a decision to be made, you may have to wait until August. Because more than anything, Dr. Toro says her #1 goal is to protect her central family.
The most important guiding principle of our decisions will be the safety and health of our community, students, faculty, and staff.
For CCSU News, I'm Sarah Willson.
Honestly, my heart dropped. I was at work when I opened the email and I read it, and I felt like the entire world was crashing down on me.
It was a trip nearly 20 students had been looking forward to for a long time. Some since they were a little girl.
I've been looking forward to going to Italy since the Mary-Kate and Ashley movie, When in Rome, so heartbroken.
But fears over the coronavirus have halted students like Torres from living out their dreams of going to Italy. Professor Karen Ritzenhoff was leading the class to the country and was so devastated that the trip was canceled, she says she tried to downplay the virus.
I was in disbelief, and I also tried to pretend that it was exaggerated and that we could just go anyway and convince the school to let us go.
With over 2,000 confirmed cases and 52 deaths in Italy, CCSU isn't the only school calling off its overseas trip. UConn recently announced it's bringing all of its students studying in Italy home and requiring that they go through a 14-day quarantine period. But luckily for these CCSU students, there is still some good news. A trip to the country they were so hoping to visit could take place as early as next summer.